Hi.
Hey, what's up?
Just recording a podcast. What about you?
Not much. Just hanging out. We're here. Episode 2.
Number 2.
Number 2
Wow.
of the Nostalgia Entertainment System podcast. Can you believe it?
I can.
I can't.
You can't.
No.
Explain.
I didn't think we'd make it this far.
Okay.
2?
We did it.
Big number.
Yeah. 2 is a good number. It's the best Star Wars movie. And I mean, coming out by order. So Empire Strikes Back.
Okay.
Not Attack of the Clones.
What's wrong with Attack of the Clones?
It's not very good.
Okay.
Mhm.
Fair.
It's also the what you call poop when you're going to the bathroom, but you don't want to tell people what you're doing necessarily.
That is true.
Mm-hmm.
Where'd that come from?
Good question. Good question, Doctor.
We'll never know.
Mm-mm.
I'm not going to look it up.
I don't know how I would look that up.
You would type into Google, where does number 2 come
Why
from?
do we
Poop.
say number 2 when we poop?
Yeah.
All right. Why do... It's hard to type on my lap.
But it's a laptop.
I usually use it on a table, though.
Oh, you've got a tabletop then.
2 when we poop. For all of you English nerds, according to the... Oh, I don't want to go to the Odyssey Online. Remember that website?
Is that the website that does the award show at college?
So from what I remember is the Odyssey Online was this website that was, I don't know if they were paying people when we were in college or if it was just you could write and they would publish your stuff on their website, but it was just basically college essays written by college students. And I don't know, I feel like everybody I knew who was an English major or a history major was writing weird opinion pieces for the Odyssey Online. I don't know, it seemed very silly to me because I feel like it was just it would just put a bunch of opinion pieces up and kind of pretend like they were facts when really it was just college students saying what they thought about things, which isn't very...
It's the heart of American journalism.
Yeah, just college kids. Okay, let's go to Quora.com. What is the history behind number 1 being assigned for P and number 2 for poo? Oh, well, this is just an ask.
It's like a Yahoo Answers.
Yeah. Here we go. David Calladine says the terms number 1 and number 2 for going to the toilet, those American call it a bathroom, a place where you wash? ? Is
just
quiet, old, or those unaware. Number 1 is urinating. Number 2 is defecating. And down to rhyming slang, as number 2 rhymes with poo. This is written very poorly.
Number 1 doesn't rhyme with P, though, so that doesn't hold.
There is a bit of an urban legend that it arose in schools where children would raise one finger or two. This goes on to embellish that in the days before inside plumbing, number 2 would imply the need to access the outhouse. What? Why? This is not giving me any answers.
Is there really no like in the top 5 hits that you would get on a Google search? Are none of them a legitimate article about why?
The first 5 are the Odyssey Online, which I am not taking as fact for reasons why I already said. The second one is Quora.com. The next 2 are Urban Dictionary. And then the next one is just an article called "Oh Poop, Everything You Need to Know About Your Number 2."
Huh.
So it doesn't really explain that.
Interesting. I feel like that would have been a well-researched topic by someone.
Yeah.
There'd be a Vice article about it.
Oh, there is an article on womenshealthmagazine.com called "How to Poop Politely at Work, on Planes, and at a Guy's Place."
Ooh. How to poop politely. You don't want to poop rude.
Yeah. Okay. In the office, space yourself out, pick a stall as far away as possible from anybody that's already occupied so that you and other poopers can have a little privacy. Put a layer of toilet paper on the water surface. The toilet paper muffles the noise poop makes when it hits the water and creates less of a splash. What? Do a courtesy flush while you go and another. Besides making any embarrassing sounds, flushing as soon as the poop plops prevents the odor from reeking up the entire bathroom. Don't carry on a conversation. What? Texting or talking on the phone and in the stall is unhygienic. And if coworkers see you use it, it will damage your work.
Who is
reputation.
watching you text in the stall?
I don't know. I want to see what it says at a guy's place. Ooh, run the cold faucet. The sound of running water is loud enough to block any sounds your guy might hear. Plus, the gentle swoosh will relax you so you don't get poop stage fright.
Or you could just poop like a human.
Yeah.
You know, I will say, though, that some of those I think are false. Mainly I think it was the courtesy flush one. Because once the poop is in the water, it's not really going to smell. It's the poop that's on your ass that is exposed to the air, if there's any hanging around, and any farts you might have done, that really is what causes the smell.
Yeah, or maybe like as it's all happening.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like,
that makes sense.
Like, I don't think it's the actual physical poop in the water that really releases that much odor. I mean, I'm not a poop scientist, so I don't really...
You're not?
No.
Wait, what's this podcast about then?
It's about... Who knows? Who knows what it's about?
Wow, I don't think we've even introduced ourselves.
We have not. No,
we've gone on a whole.
We've gone 7.5 minutes in, mostly talking about poop.
Yeah.
To that, as always, it's me, Josh,
and I'm Paul,
and welcome to Nostalgia Entertainment System, where apparently we talk about poop, which I have no qualms with.
Yeah, I don't care.
If you have made it this far in, you're a true fan for listening to 7.5 minutes of poop talk.
Yeah, that's our other podcast.
Poop talk.
Poop talk.
We talk about poop. We podcast while we poop.
Even though it's unhygienic and our coworkers are always judging us.
Hey, they said nothing about podcasting while pooping. Just talking and texting.
Yeah, it was talking and texting.
That's a taboo.
Taboo.
Podcasting? A-okay. Well, how are you, Paul?
I'm good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You were mentioning earlier that you just got an Xbox.
I did. I got an Xbox One for my birthday from my brothers.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I was going to mention, but I decided to save it until now because it's conversation. Why use up conversation if we're not going to record it?
Yeah, why talk to each other unless it's for the podcast?
That's true. We never speak otherwise. Did you get Game Pass?
I did.
It's great. How much is it for Xbox, for console?
It was, so for the first time, it's $1 for 3 months.
Which is already a great deal.
That is a good deal. However, I looked through all the games, and there's not a ton that I'm super interested in.
But I also think that's the point, is because even if you're not interested in it, it's like, because I have it for PC,
Mm-hmm.
and it's $5 a month. Because
Oh.
it's still in like beta, and it's like not fully released yet.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a few games where it's like, I probably won't drop full price on this. I'm only tangentially interested in it.
Sure.
But why not? I got it, you know?
Yeah, I guess that's a good point. Although my own video gaming preference is that I don't, there's only certain video games I'm really going to play, because I don't spend a lot of time playing video games. So if I'm going to play the game, it's going to be one that I really want to play. So I feel like I'm less likely to just like see a game and be like, I'll play that, because then I also have to, install it.
Oh, that's true.
Which on my Xbox takes a really long time, especially if it's a big game.
Yeah, most games, at least like AAA games, you're going to be looking at least 60 gigs.
Yeah. Which it just like, that's like a whole night. And by the time that night's over, I'm usually like, it'll be a few days before I come back. And who knows if I want to play that game again. Maybe I will.
Is Flight Simulator on Xbox, or is it just PC?
I did not see it, but I'll look again, because it has Goat Simulator and Farming Simulator.
Farming Simulator could be fun. A lot of the simulator games I think are pretty fun.
I would love to play Flight Simulator. I had an old version of that as a kid, but I don't want to play Farming Simulator.
I mean, you never know with those kinds of games. because I have American Truck Simulator,
Mm-hmm.
and you just drive like an 18-wheeler. That's it.
That sounds better than Farm Simulator.
I don't know. Farm Simulator could be fun. Drive around a tractor and harvest your yield. I don't know. All I'm saying is that some simulator games are fun.
Maybe I might do Goat Simulator.
It's a pretty fun meme game. I've never played it, but I've watched videos of people playing it. It seems like a good kick.
Yeah.
Again, that's the kind of thing where like I'm not going to buy Goat Simulator, but if it's on Game Pass, I mean, what's the harm? Like, I'm not losing anything by downloading it. In fact, I'm probably losing something by not downloading it, giving myself the option.
That's a good point. You're right.
How you also said you got Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic?
Yes.
How far into it are you?
Well, I should preface this by saying that I'm a really big Star Wars fan. Like, I've read some of the books, I've read some of the comics. I really love all the movies. I've seen like all of Clone Wars. I'm really into Star Wars. I like Star Wars a lot. I never really played this game when it first came out, and it's hard for me.
Yep.
I'm not good at it, and I was disappointed with the customization of my character. You can only be human.
Yeah, you don't get a lot of customization. I think this game came out in like 2003, 2004, and maybe this will help steer you, but the reason that it's popular and the reason that people like it is not necessarily for gameplay reasons. It's because the writing is really good. So at least that's what helps me because I'm playing through it on and off right now. I played it on the original Xbox when I was maybe 10 or 11 or something. I don't know, maybe a little older than that, but I borrowed my friend's Xbox for a while, and he let me borrow with it Knights of the Old Republic 2. So I never played the first one because he only had
the second one,
the Sith Lords. Yeah. So I've played through that. So I figured, a while ago I bought, and just for ease of use, I'm just going to call it KOTOR from here on out. I bought KOTOR 1 because it was on sale on Steam, and then played it for a little bit, got a little bored. And then recently I was like, you know what? I'm just going to play it. Why not? And coming from like modern time games that are like really well polished and have intricate systems and are just like really fun to look at and play, this game is 100% not that.
Yeah.
Like, combat is really slow because it is somewhat real time, somewhat turn based, and actions command based, on top of running on a D20 system. So I don't know if you've really looked through any of like the ability descriptions.
Briefly,
but it does run on a D20 system, so it makes rolls and then adds modifiers from your stats to those rolls to see whether or not you hit and how much damage you do. Paul and I play D&D, so
together.
Yes, together. So I'm hoping that you're at least somewhat familiar with a D20 system.
Yeah, I get that. And I think the big thing for me is like it's more exciting when you're rolling for it, and like you're like, I hope I make this hit, instead of just like watching the hit like take place.
Yes,
and
combat.
it's just a little laser that like hits somebody, and then like a little cloud appears and it says -5.
Yeah, combat is unthrilling, to put it lightly. But overall, I think like the dialogue is really fun. Like, whenever you get those moments, like, have you gotten, how far are you again?
I just escaped the first ship.
Okay, cool.
I'm not far at all.
Okay, so at least you know who Karth is, at least. Karth Onassi?
Yeah, that's the guy
He's the Republic
yeah.
fighter pilot guy.
Yeah.
There'll be moments throughout the game, if you keep him in your party, because you get other party members. I don't really think that spoils anything, because there's a menu where you can see party members and they're all silhouettes, obviously.
Right.
But there are moments where, like, if you don't talk to him, the game will just pause and it'll cut to your character and it says, like, Karth looks like he wants to say something.
Oh, yeah, it did that to me the other day.
I love those bits of dialogue. And I just like reading through them and just like hearing what Karth has to say. And it's like, no, Karth, you're being a little bitch right now. And just like, I don't know, just responding to how like I would respond to that with the given dialogue options. And I think that's where the game is the strongest. I think in terms of just like the dialogue and the writing and all that kind of stuff. So I hope you stick with it, because I think it's a really fun game.
I want to enjoy it as much as other people have.
If anything, I think it is pretty far into the game. But I really hope you at least get to see HK-47.
I've heard of this. Yeah, that droid.
Yep. He's great. You gotta love him. I just got him in my game. I think, yeah, I just got to Tatooine.
No, I bought a droid in my game and then it blew up.
Did you threaten her for more money?
No.
Okay.
I just said, can I have my money back? And she said, okay. I was like, this was fucking pointless. Like,
oh, I persuaded her to give me more money. I didn't threaten her, but I did persuade her. And she gave me like 75 credits instead of 50.
Wow. I'm a light side Jedi.
I'm playing this way that I personally would respond to some of these prompts.
If somebody sold you something and it exploded, you would ask for more money back?
Probably not. But I definitely would ask for my money back. And I would also ask probably for some kind of additional compensation for when you say that, hey, my product works. It's great. All right, I'll take it. And it explodes when I leave the store.
That's pretty bad.
I am gonna want more than my money back. I don't care if it's store credit or a gift card, but I'm gonna want something in addition to getting my money back when you sold me a product that you guaranteed is great and it explodes.
That happened to me when I shopped at Men's Warehouse.
What exploded? Your britches?
Yeah. I pooped my pants. And I said, why do we call it number 2? And then that guy said, I don't know. I guarantee it.
and then he pissed his pants.
He peed his pants, yeah.
Well, speaking of video games, today's topic is Humongous Entertainment.
Humongous
Entertainment.
That should have been their little thing.
I'm sure they thought about it.
We're coming in hot after playing through Pajama Sam into the Pajama Samiverse.
Yeah.
Or something.
Mm-hmm. Something about not being afraid in the dark. I don't remember the title. But for anyone out there that doesn't know, Humongous Entertainment is, well, not really is anymore. I would say was a pretty big contender in the edutainment software side of things, producing titles like Pajama Sam and Putt Putt and Freddy Fish, Spy Fox, and supposedly they also made like Backyard Baseball and maybe other backyard titles.
Yeah, I didn't know that until today, and I was kind of looking at that.
I didn't know that until I saw it like autofill in Google. But before maybe we get into it a little more, do you have any like history with playing computer games or like point and clicks or anything like that?
I have some vague memories of being like really little, like probably in the late 90s playing. I don't know. I specifically remember this one game where you were trying to like put on a play with these rabbits.
Mario 3?
No, it's not Mario 3. It's a computer game. But you like were trying to find like costumes and set pieces for this forest's play. I don't remember much beyond that. It was one of the computer games that my grandma had, so I could only play it when I went over to my grandma's house. That was the same. At that same time, my older brother would play a Legoland game. I think it was like Lego Island or something like that.
Oh, yeah, with Pepper. You can skateboard around and hold a pizza.
I don't know. I didn't play it. I watched him play it.
Okay.
And he did not like that I would watch him play it, so I wasn't really paying attention. But that was really the only point and click game that I had access to, because my elementary school, we did not have them like in the computer labs or whatever. You were pretty much just like stuck with reading tests. Yeah, that's all I kind of remember doing in our elementary school computer lab.
Do you remember when your family got a computer?
Yes. Well, I remember we had a computer pretty early on, but we didn't really have games. We had one like encyclopedia disc about dinosaurs.
Ooh.
Which you could put in the computer. And then I think all you could do was you would click on little like icons, and then it would play a little movie. I don't remember if there was sound or not, but some of them were 3D. So if you put on 3D glasses, you could see like...
Whoa, I thought you were talking about like 3D graphics and like it was rendered like a 3D model.
No. It was a 3D movie that it would show you. It would be like 5 seconds long of like a T-Rex growling, and then it'd be done. And then you could click on another one and it'd be a T-Rex or a Triceratops. doing like the same thing. But there wasn't a game. Like you just looked at these videos. There was no goal.
Whoa. Was it like the blue and red, like 3D glasses?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Man, remember when those were the shit and they were just everywhere?
Yeah. I remember watching Spy Kids 3D with those glasses.
Oh, yeah. I watched Spy Kids 3D in my living room.
Oh, yeah. It didn't work quite as well as it did in the theater, but
no,
I still watched that. Yeah, I watched that a lot. Let's see. What other computer? Oh, the first computer game I remember playing was like a Sesame Street Paint thing. It was basically like Microsoft Paint, but with Sesame Street stencils or like black and white pictures, and you could just color in Sesame Street. You're checking your watch like you don't find this game totally enthralling that I'm describing.
Oh no, I got a message on Slack. That was it. I was like, oh, what is work trying to get at me for? Whatever. I'll get to it later.
Oh, that is my young childhood computer history up until probably when I started going to that post-serial website.
Postopia?
Yeah.
Yeah. You could play games with Lucky and Trix Rabbit? Or is that not Post?
The one I'm thinking of is it was like you could go into the future and you would be... Boy, I don't remember what you would do there. If I'm going to talk about it, I should look more into it. I remember doing it, though. I feel like Brendan and I used to get that.
Did your school just like not really have like an emphasis on like computer learning?
We somehow
like any of your schools throughout like kindergarten through, I don't know, let's cut it off at like kindergarten through, for me, I don't know, I would say 4th grade. I would consider like that as like the age that I probably would have played like Humongous Entertainment games.
Right. We did not. We when I was in 4th grade, the school got some laptops.
Whoa.
But we could only use those for like research stuff.
Makes sense.
We didn't play any games on there. And in the school library, there was not any like point and click games. I only ever played, I think it was Spy Fox at a friend's house in 5th grade. And it was kind of fun, but also, as we learned today, kind of infuriating. So I don't think we finished it. And we were already halfway through when I started playing it because it was from like a saved game or something like that.
I see.
So I really did not grow up playing these games very much. What about you?
Well, my family didn't get a computer until like the year 2000 or something like that. 2000, 2001, I don't know, somewhere around that time is when my parents got their first computer. It was a Hewlett-Packard desktop. Like the novelty was really cool for a while. And then over time, it started to really settle in how bad that computer was very early on, because at some point I realized I can play games on the computer. And then it dawned on me very quickly, even though I didn't understand why, that like these games aren't working right. And it's because it was a very like bad, junky computer that really like it was, I don't know, in today's terms, you would equate it to like a Chromebook where like its main function is going to be going on the internet, checking your email, watching videos or whatever. So I remember it came pre-installed with like this racing game where you could pick one car and you can race one track and that's it. And it was a time trial. So you're not even racing against like computer cars or anything like that.
You're just going as fast as you can.
As fast as you can. And that ran okay. And there was also and somewhere at my parents' house, there is like a camera like a picture taken from a camera where I might have even been disposable or something. I have no idea, of me sitting in front of the computer, like maybe a month or two after we had just gotten it. And I'm playing this like 3D, not like 3D glasses 3D, but like 3D rendered, 3D modeled, like pig Pac-Man game where you're just like this little pink pig in a maze and you have to like eat these yellow pellets. And every time he eats a pellet, he oinks.
That's a great premise for a game.
Yep. So I remember those that were like bundled in with like the Wild Tangent, like, I don't know, here's like the Wild Tangent suite, like download Wild Tangent. I don't know, just like here's some demos for some games. That, and of course, pinball, Space Pinball.
Oh, we had Space Pinball on our computer.
Gotta love Space Pinball. Never really played proper PC games just because one, our computer couldn't run it.
Mm-hmm.
And two, I had like a GameCube and I had consoles.
Oh, wow. You had consoles. Yeah. Why do you need the computer?
So it was never really, it was never like my interest to like play computer games until, you know, way later down the road when like PC gaming just started to become more and more, maybe not necessarily popular, but more accessible to the point where just like, I just built my own.
Right.
And so that's what I have now. The first like Humongous Entertainment game that I played was probably Pajama Sam.
Mm-hmm. Where did you play it?
So this is kind of where I don't know the difference between what actually happened and what I remember.
Okay. Lay it on me.
So I would have been really young, maybe like 6 or 7 years old. This was before, maybe even younger than that, because if we got the computer around 2000, 2001, I would have been 6 or 7 years old. So I would have been younger than that. So I don't know how this was arranged. My mom would use the computers at the library of not my elementary school, but the associated middle school that was just down the road. They would just let her use the computers there. So she would just like show, I don't know if this was during the summer. I don't know if this was during like the weekend. I don't know when this was, because we would go there in like the middle of the day and my mom would go and check her email, look at some websites or something. Check
out dogpile.com.
Go to Dogpile, ask Jeeves for some advice, you know, do whatever else she's doing on the internet.
What advice do you think your mom was looking for at that point?
I don't know, probably recipes, how to fix the house. That's my assumption.
Okay.
I don't even know what my mom looks for on the internet now. I can't imagine what she would need to find on the internet other than, I don't know.
Facebook?
No, it's probably like, yeah, it's probably K-pop.
Oh, your mom likes K-pop?
I would not be surprised.
I bet my mom likes K-pop.
I would be surprised at that.
Really?
Yeah.
I guess I might be too. My mom's kind of more into like, she's just finding out about Pharrell.
Just now?
Yeah, for Mother's Day, I asked what she would like, and she asked for Pharrell's album with Happy on it.
Wow, that's the one where he's wearing that big hat.
Yeah, and so
you just got her the big hat.
Yeah, I should have gotten her a Pharrell hat.
Yeah, so I don't know how.
So in about 10 years, she'll be into to K-pop.
Yeah, so I don't know how it was arranged, where my mom would just go to the middle school that I was not enrolled in because I'm like 4 or 5, and she would just use the computers there, which was very interesting when I finally got to that middle school, going into the library, seeing the computers in the exact same like configuration, because like you would walk into the library and then like to the right when you walked in would be the desk where you would check out books and do whatever else.
Sure.
Directly to the left of that, in like a little island thing, there were 6 computers in like 2 rows of 3. It'd be like, and they would just be facing each other or facing away from each other. So like 2, 4, 6, that kind of thing.
Sure.
And then another lower, they were all like higher up. You would sit on stools. Next to it was another group of 4 computers that were just on normal desks, so you would sit down in. And then like over off to the side, kind of next to the reception desk, there was a couple more computers from there. And so my mom would sit like on the ones with the stools. And I very vividly remember, because I would also just like, you know, punch things into the computer and like type stuff. And the one memory I have of that is there was a kid sitting next to me or something. Or no, I think he was sitting somewhere in like the computer cluster, and he was on Lego's website for Throwbots. Do you remember Throwbots?
That name sounds kind of familiar. Let me look it up.
I think they preceded Bionicle as far as like a creature kind of like
I remember Throwbots.
Lego thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he was on a Throwbots website playing a game, and I was like, I want to play this game. But of course, I'm a shy kid and I'm not going to ask this kid, how did he get there? Instead, what I did, and now that I'm thinking about it, this is kind of like a recurring theme whenever there would be like an older kid doing something that I was kind of interested in. I would just kind of like stand there and just like stare. And what I did was I like stared at the URL and I just relayed the whole URL like one letter by one back to my mom for her to type into her web browser. And I must have done something wrong because of course it didn't open.
It didn't work.
No.
So this kid's playing a game.
This kid's just playing a game.
Standing there.
And then there's this 4-year-old kid just watching him play, coming back and forth, reading the website he's on one letter at a time. And I think eventually my mom maybe just went and asked him or like checked what the website was, because I do remember playing those games.
Mm-hmm. That's just so funny to imagine.
But
I like to imagine you doing that now. Like, you're just too shy to ask anybody. So you just
I'm at a coffee place and just like, ooh, what are they watching? And then just
like sipping a soy milk latte right behind him,
just standing like 4 feet back. But that computer lab in the library is where I played Pajama Sam because they had a copy.
Oh, was this before you were in middle school then?
Yeah, this was like the same time when my mom would be checking her email and one of the librarians there was like, do you want to play this game, I guess? Because I don't remember ever asking to play this game, but I just remember at some point playing this game, and then whenever we would go back, I would play that game. And I think it was the Pajama Sam that we played today.
Oh.
I think it was that one.
So why didn't you know how to win?
I don't know, Paul. You forget a lot of things in 16, 17 years.
Okay.
Or however long it's been.
It was harder than it should have been.
A little bit, yeah. It was definitely a Pajama Sam game that I played, though. Other than that, I mean, I played another Humongous Entertainment game later in like 4th grade, 3rd grade, 2nd grade, earlier. I don't know, somewhere around that time, because we had a computer lab or computer section in the library of my elementary school. And those I remember having like Apple IIs or something. Mm-hmm. I distinctly remember when we would have like our computer time, like once a week or whatever, to learn time to learn computer skills, play a game. It was like the really old chunky computers that had greens, like all the text on the screen was green.
Oh,
like there was no color. Mm-hmm. You had to hit like, do you want to do this? YN, like that whole deal. Mm-hmm. I remember playing like some sort of learning game on those. And as a kid, I was just like, this is boring because it's too easy. And then the next year, those computers were upgraded.
Oh, shit.
For our computer time that year, we would just play Freddy Fish Maze Madness or whatever it was.
Wow.
Yeah. So I don't know, which is really interesting. And the reason that I asked you if you had a lot of like computer learning is because I had a lot of it when I was growing up. And like my school was the poor school. I went to like the poor kids school in like the less than desirable neighborhood. Mm-hmm. And everyone made fun of the Evergreen kids because everyone thought we were poor and shitty. Like we were that school. When you got to high school, it's like, oh, you're from Evergreen? Oh.
My school wasn't the poor school, to my knowledge. Maybe it was, but nobody ever brought up the fact that it was. It also has since been torn down, in fact.
Maybe it was the poor school after all.
Yeah, it was the oldest school in the state of Montana when I went there.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Did it get replaced or did it just, we're done with this?
I don't know. I haven't driven by it. I think it's just, well, I don't know. I'm going to Google the name of the school.
All throughout kindergarten through like 4th grade, I think is what I brought up earlier. I remember like in kindergarten playing this one MS-DOS game that I want to find what it was so bad, but I really can't remember anything about it other than there was like a cityscape and I don't even know if you were controlling anything. I just remember on screen there being like these like Dr. Mario virus looking characters, like an orange one and a red one. That's literally all I remember about that game. And I've been wanting to find out what it was, but obviously that's not enough of a descriptor to like really figure out what it is. In like 1st grade, I remember playing with like some sort of storytelling software where you could like narrate a story and there would be like a handful of backgrounds and like images or even GIFs that you could use to just like illustrate the story. 4th grade. I remember playing a lot of Kid Pix. Like Kid Pix was huge. And just like playing around with that. So like computers and computer learning was like a huge part of growing up for me, even though I never did it at home. Happened a lot in school.
Interesting. I just found out they did rebuild my elementary school, or maybe they're in the process of it, but it did get torn down.
Well, what say we take a little break here and then we'll dive more into the history of Humongous Entertainment.
Yeah, let's do it.
Cool.
Deep in the bowels of an old power plant, a sinister plot is hatching. Ha ha! At last the time has come to hatch my sinister plot. This lever will activate my blackout generator and the world will be thrown into eternal night. Not so fast, Doctors! What? Pajama Man! That's right, Fiend, and I have some gadgets of my own. Take that! Ah! Not the Illuminator Mark V! Do you have anything to say before you're sucked into my portable bad guy containment unit?
I wish you'd pick up your socks once in a while.
Sure thing, Mom. You can consider that done.
Okay, Sam, you remember tonight's the night we go to sleep with the lights off.
Don't worry about me, Mom. I'm ready. And I can put on my pajama Sam mask if I get scared.
That's good, dear. Good night, Sam.
Good night, Mom.
All right, welcome back. Boy, what have I got here? I've just got a little bit of history for Humongous Entertainment.
Yeah.
Really, there's a lot less to it than I kind of thought there would be. Like, I thought there would be a lot more to really like dive in, and I'm sure there is, but I have a lot less written down for this than I did fast food toys.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I don't know, to me was just a little bit surprising.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, I think with fast food toys, there's like a lot of like variety, and like, you know, there had to be somebody who came up with the idea for fast food toys, and then there was so many like things that spun off from there. Whereas this was kind of its own little thing.
Yeah, I mean, fast food toys also had like a 20-year lead.
True.
on Humongous Entertainment, but
and it's still happening, unlike Humongous Entertainment.
That's true. Yeah. Well, I guess we'll get started. So Humongous Entertainment is, as previously mentioned, it's a video game development company. They were founded in 1992 in Woodinville, Washington by Ron Gilbert and Shelley Day. The two of them had worked at LucasArts. Gilbert was a programmer and designer. Day was a producer for them.
Wow, LucasArts, huh?
LucasArts, yeah. So, and really, when you think about that, that really makes a lot of sense, since the games that they were producing for LucasArts were point and clicks. So they were things like Monkey Island, Maniac Mansion, which are two of the more notable like projects that I saw like Gilbert work on.
Mm-hmm.
So having that influence, and I think I read in an article somewhere that they were like, they wanted to like bring that idea of like puzzle solving and like problem solving for children. That all like kind of just like leads into it very well. Their most well-known series, of course, as we mentioned before, Pajama Sam, Putt Putt, Freddy Fish, Spy Fox, Backyard Baseball, which I guess I could have looked up during the break, but I didn't. Man, not a little tangent here, but I remember playing Backyard Baseball for GameCube.
Mm-hmm.
That game was so fun. That was the one where they had like a partnership or whatever with Major League Baseball. So you would play like kid versions of like Sammy Sosa and Alex Rodriguez, who I don't know any other Ichiro, other baseball people from that time.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that game was so fun.
I don't know if I ever actually played it.
I don't care about baseball at all. I think it's one of the most boring sports to watch. But I love that game. It's so fun.
I remember looking at it at the store, like the case, and like picking it up and being like, wow, I wish I had this game, but I didn't have it because I didn't have a console or a computer that could handle it.
What a sentiment though, right?
Yeah.
I feel like I did that so many times.
Just
like
wishing for games.
Yeah. I remember going to Walmart and where they had those like scanner guns at the video games, and you would like scan the barcode, and then on the TV, they would just play like a demo or like a trailer for that game.
Oh, whoa. I never did that.
Yeah. So I would just like spend like so much time just like, oh, this game looks cool. And I just like scan the thing, like crank my neck up and then just like watch the trailer and then just keep doing that. I like hogged the little scanner.
Okay,
thing.
so I probably didn't ever do this because there was always one kid who was hogging the fucking controller or whatever.
Yeah.
The scanner gun.
That was also the first time I ever played Ocarina of Time, Zelda game.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was a demo. Like I remember just like cranking my neck and then like watching Link run around the Temple of Time.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, what a trip.
Wow.
But I just remember like, look at all these games that I really wish I had. And now
I'm getting them.
No. But now I do. In fact, it's kind of the opposite where I see a new game and I'm like, I don't want to get this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of having that thing a little bit with the new Mario 3D All-Stars that was just announced.
Oh, I have no idea about any of that.
Oh, they're re-releasing Super Mario 64, Super Mario Sunshine, and Mario Galaxy for Switch.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're not interested in that.
No, not really. They're not adding anything new to the game. And I own all of those games already.
Mm-hmm.
And if I want to see them in like a higher resolution or whatever, I can just emulate them. I don't know what the value proposition there is for me, other than the fact that it is, for whatever reason, like a timed release. So it's only available until like whenever it releases. It stops being available at the end of March 2021.
Oh, so you couldn't buy it in like 3 years from now?
No. So I'm thinking about just buying extra copies and hoping that they'll sell for a lot.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That's the only value I see in it, really. Because like I've already played these games. They're not adding anything new, like gameplay wise.
Yeah, that is interesting. It's probably just for people who used to have a GameCube or something, and then their GameCube broke or something, and then now they're just like, well, I'll play that. Sure.
I'm sure it's also for people that maybe are around our age that also just like probably never got like a chance to play them or whatever. So
If I had a Switch, I might buy it.
if you've never played those 3 games, it's a great deal for I think $40.
Oh, yeah.
You know, but me, I've played all 3 of those games multiple times. Am I getting anything out of it? No. So I don't know. Weird tangent to go on there, but moving on. The name Humongous Entertainment came from another LucasArts alumni, I guess. Alumnus. I don't really know if that's the proper term for that, but it's Tim Schafer from Double Fine. He's the guy that made Psychonauts and Grim Fandango, bunch of other like prominent point and click adventure games.
I never heard of any of those.
Really?
Nope.
Not even Grim Fandango, where you play as the skeleton?
You're just saying things.
Wow.
This sounds like you're making things up.
I'm not.
It's like you played Johnny Kick Bucket, where you play as a little rat man.
Is that a game that you love?
No, I just made it up. See? Johnny Kick Bucket, the rat man. If you get that as a tattoo listener, that's pretty cool.
So that is a lot of like, I don't know, just kind of like the basic information about Humongous Entertainment. Most of the information that I found was just like, I don't know, just like really quick timeline stuff. And after a certain point, Humongous Entertainment, they just kind of like spiral out of control.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll start in 1996. So July 11, 1996, Humongous Entertainment was acquired by GT Interactive for $76 million. From what I can tell, this was an acquisition to help keep the company afloat, because I guess they were starting to lose money.
In 1996?
In 1996. 3 years later, November 1999, GT Interactive is acquired by Infogrames, and the next year, in 2000, the founders of Humongous Entertainment, so this includes Gilbert and Day, among I think some other key staff, attempt to purchase Humongous Entertainment from Infogrames, presumably so they have full control over the company.
Mm-hmm.
But they were unsuccessful in purchasing the company because the planned purchase date for when they would acquire Humongous Entertainment back so they have full control over it coincided with the collapse of the .com bubble.
Oh.
And so all the funding that they had externally gotten to purchase their company back disappeared.
Oh.
And so they never got the opportunity to get it back.
Shit.
Yep. So following that, The next year in 2001, the founders, so again, Gilbert and Day, along with those, I'm assuming the same key staff, broke off and they founded a new company called Humongous Entertainment in 2001. And from what I can tell, boy, they did not make anything of note. So I don't know what happened here, but this is just like, for like this time period and like this company, it just seems like it's a very dark, shitty time. To make matters worse, and I'll provide some context to this. When I was looking up what games Humongous Entertainment made, none of them, I had never heard of any of them because they were like similar like kids edutainment games, but they were just like names that I'd never heard of, like Olo and the Sunny Valley Fair. Like who and what?
Is Olo related to Otto, that boat we met?
I think this guy was like a bug or something. I don't know. But I did notice that they had one recognizable game, which was Piglet's Big Game. And the only reason this stood out to me was because this is an existing IP that's owned by Disney. Like, okay, they at least had like some notoriety that they were able to secure getting a deal with Disney. Good for them. You'll also notice that Humongous only has like 5 or 6 games credited under them. And the reason for this, at least according to like this forum post that I found about like Humongous Entertainment and like edutainment point and click games, is because of a lawsuit that has to do with Shelley Day. So, and the dates kind of match up for this. So Piglet's Big Game releases on February 2, 2003. A few years later, in 2005, Day was convicted of fraud. Not only that, but she was sentenced to 30 months in prison for defrauding a bank for $1.5 million.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Damn, Shelley Day.
Yeah. So apparently she wanted to purchase her dream home. So what she did was that she falsely claimed to a bank loan officer that Disney Interactive had agreed to buy part of Humongous Entertainment and presented forged documents to support that claim. So this forum post, at the very least, believes that this interaction ended their contract with Disney, and that also just kind of ended the whole company, like in general.
Oh, because that was that was probably their last shot.
I think that was the last game that they had made, because after that, there's like no games that were released, and that's pretty much it. Similarly to last episode, where like, you know, I'm like looking up Burger Chef and like, oh, look at these, the Burger Chef murders.
Burger Chef murders, yeah.
Which, as I was editing the podcast, I decided to just like look up some stuff and just like, you know.
Is this another episode of a true crime podcast?
No, this is an episode. This is an episode of, I don't know, Nostalgia Entertainment System Mini, where I make some corrections. Wherein I said, if you Google Burger Chef, you won't find the Burger Chef murders. It is the third thing that comes up.
Oh, okay, so you didn't fact check yourself. Okay.
No, I did not.
Well, maybe it's because we put that episode out.
Maybe we had something to do with that.
If they get caught, the Burger Chef murderer, I hope that we're thanked.
Yeah,
by the police or whoever solves the crime.
Yeah,
probably not the police.
ACAB, dude.
ACAB.
So anyway, after that whole debacle with the lawsuit, Humongous Entertainment, or at least what is left of it, continues to go through like this whole like meat grinder of a mess. So that same year that Humongous Entertainment was formed, Humongous Entertainment was still part of Infogrames doing whatever the fuck they were doing. But in 2001, that same year, Infogrames laid off 40% of Humongous Entertainment staff and like 80% of their own staff. Like they had a huge round of layoffs.
Wow.
2 more years later, in 2003, Infogrames somehow, I don't know how this happened, but Infogrames somehow has the money to purchase Hasbro. So they purchase Hasbro, and Hasbro owns the like rights or something to Atari. So Humongous Entertainment gets renamed to Atari Incorporated, doing like, I don't know, a lot of the same kind of stuff, other kinds of game development. 2 more years down the road, Atari Inc. As like its own group that encompasses Humongous Entertainment, gets rid of the Humongous Entertainment like portion and sells it back to Infogrames. And then 3 more years later, Humongous Entertainment officially like dissolves as a company, because it still like has like some rights or whatever, like holdings with Atari. So they dissolved the company, transitioned all the assets to a brand new company called Humongous Inc. and published under Majesco. And they do all that until 2009. During this time under the new publisher is mostly when they started porting everything to like the Wii, like a bunch of their games. So because it kind of makes sense, you know, you have like the pointer on the Wii, so you can like point and click in the
translates well to like
it does translate pretty well. And that's pretty much it for Humongous Entertainment for like 7 years. Nothing happens that I could find of note until 2013 when Infogrames files for bankruptcy. And Humongous Entertainment, or Humongous Inc., I suppose, and the brand transfers to Tomo, which is a California-based publisher, which from checking their website, they're very small. And the only game of note that I found on their website that they've published is Bubsy, which is a notoriously terrible PlayStation 1 3D platformer.
I've heard of Bubsy, yeah.
Good news for Humongous Entertainment that they got transitioned to this publisher that wants to take a bet on Bubsy, I guess. The one thing, though, that Tomo did do, and they did this a couple years later, they partnered with Night Dive Studios. And this was one of those moments during like research that a lot of stuff just like starts to click together for me. It's like, oh yeah, I've seen this thing here and I've seen this thing there. It's kind of like, for me at least, the thing with Tim Schafer. I was like, yeah, they credit the name to Tim Schafer. I'm like, whoa, Tim Schafer, that Tim Schafer? It's that Tim Schafer. So when I saw Night Dive Studios and like the logo, I was like, I've definitely seen this before. And this studio is like well known for updating old games and making them playable on like newer hardware. So like when we played Pajama Sam earlier, it's such an old game that if you try to like run like if you have the disc, like the actual disc or the ISO that comes on the disc,
right,
you can't run it because it's too old. So what I ended up using was a virtual machine to run the game so that it works on newer hardware. So that's pretty much what Night Dive does for like really old games. And they're really well known for bringing back like games like System Shock. Like that's what they're really well known for, is like a game that was popular, well loved. I've never played it, so I'm just taking other people's word for it. That you can't run on like a Windows 10 computer, and like digging into the code, rebuilding stuff so that it does run on newer hardware. So they did that same thing that they did with like System Shock and Turok to Humongous Entertainment games. So like they ported all the Putt-Putt games and like Pajama Sam games and whatever for digital distribution. So that's why like I could buy Putt-Putt that 1 year on Steam, was because Tomo hired out Night Dive Studios to say, hey, we have all these games that we can't do anything with. Let's update them and sell them to people on the internet because it's 2015. So
yeah, I'm sure plenty of people bought.
I'm sure they did. Yeah. I mean,
people probably just at least wanted to revisit it like we did.
Yeah. I mean, and that for me is where my like quick information about HE kind of ends. Now, as we've alluded to, you had never played a Humongous Entertainment game before.
Right.
So we had played, right before recording this, Pajama Sam, There's No Need to Be Afraid of the Dark, I think is what it's called.
Yeah, or like the dark.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Give us your thoughts. What did you think?
Well, so coming from an adult man, it was kind of, what's the right word I'm looking for? It was sometimes easy to figure out what to do, but it was kind of exacerbating to have to click through everything, because there's a lot of times where you'll like see like his lunchbox. You need to get his lunchbox out of the water, but he can't reach it because he's tiny. So you have to like go find something to go get his lunchbox, which you end up needing a magnet. You have to like, in order to get the magnet, you have to like go to a room, open a door. Then you like realize that the magnet's on the other side of the door. So you have to go press a button. I don't even remember how to do it. It like numbed my brain, but you basically have to go back to one room, to the kitchen. Then you got to go back to that one room again where the magnet is. And then you're supposed to go back up to the kitchen again, inside like a dumbwaiter, and then go back to the room. And then you can grab the magnet again. It's so like not satisfying. It just takes so long to do. But I could see why as a child you might like it, because it takes a long time to figure out, and everything you click on does a fun little dance.
Mm-hmm. I think moments like that for a kid are more satisfying,
Mm-hmm.
and definitely I think more frustrating when you're an adult. Because the thing about point and click games is that especially I think LucasArts games are notorious for, and I don't know who coined this, but it's a term that I think really describes point and click puzzles like very well, or at least some of the puzzles. They utilize a lot of moon logic. And I can't think of any specific examples because I never really played a bunch of point and click games as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the idea of like, oh, this door is locked. How do I get past it? Well, obviously, I need to go to the kitchen and grab the cheese. I need to use this cheese to make a fondue. And with that fondue, I can take it to like this person who will not give me a key, but will give me like a gun to blast off the doorknob.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's moments where it's just like this, it just doesn't make any sense, you know, and even that is maybe like a tame version of describing it, because I think a more appropriate is just like you just get the cheese and you use the cheese on the door and it opens because like a mouse comes out and like opens the door for you.
Sure.
You know, that's probably like a more accurate term of like how moon logic works. So like in a way it's like, okay, how do I get the lunchbox? And what's nice is that they give you a bunch of hints where like, oh, that lunchbox is made of metal. It's like, okay, cool. So I guess I need a magnet.
What annoyed me was the fact that earlier you get this piece of wood out of a river using a rope. And like you find the rope and it's like a tool that you get to use. And so you use the rope to pull the wood out. And then as soon as he gets the wood out, he just throws the rope right into the river. And you can't use it again. But you could have used that rope to get the lunchbox.
Yeah, that is pretty frustrating.
It's annoying.
But he does, okay, to his credit though, he does like drop the rope. It's not, what would have made it more frustrating is if like he got the plank out of the water. He was like, I got the plank. And then he just left the rope on the ground and then you can't pick it back up again. That I feel like would be so much more frustrating.
That would be more annoying. But instead, he accidentally hits himself in the face with the board, which causes him to drop the rope.
That is pretty funny, though.
It's funny, but
which I was surprised at how I don't know. I felt like the writing wasn't like that cheesy. I felt the writing was like perfectly fine. I think it holds up. There's not a lot of like really like laugh out loud, I'm gonna like bust a gut kind of jokes, but like
no, there were some ones that were genuinely funny.
There were some genuinely funny jokes, and none of them were just like, that's not funny anymore. You know, they were just like pretty timeless kind of jokes, especially like in the context of the game, which I thought was pretty good.
And there were parts of it too. It's cool that like I think there's like some sort of randomization to it, which we like looked up a little bit of the gameplay because we couldn't figure out how to find the magnet. But it turns out there's like two versions you can play. So it's like different each time you play it as a kid. Well, I guess not each time, but the first two times you played as a kid, which that would be nice. Get your money's worth out of the game. Mm-hmm. It's not just the same.
And I think if you're like a dumb little kid that can't figure out puzzles, you know, I think you'll definitely get like your hours per dollar out of the game. Mm-hmm. And I wrote this down somewhere, but I couldn't really figure out like where to throw it in. But at one point, Humongous Entertainment was like the giants in like children's like edutainment games. Mm-hmm. And a lot of the reason I think was because of like, I don't know, because they were just point and click adventure games that had like a little bit of learning and like problem solving like associated with it. Like I think at one point they had the number 1 and number 2 like best-selling titles or something.
I believe that.
And what makes it more like impressive to me is that this was against like the Learning Company who made like Reader Rabbit. If you've ever seen or heard of Reader Rabbit.
I think I've heard of Reader Rabbit.
I've never played it, but I definitely remember seeing the boxes for Reader Rabbit in like the software section when I was a kid. Like I would look at the video games, like I wonder what's over at the computer games. I would see like there's Rita Rabbit, but I'm a big kid. I'm not going to look at Rita Rabbit. Instead, I'm going to look at like the box to World of Warcraft Burning Crusade or whatever. So they were up against Learning Company and also Disney for like children's software, and they beat both of them, which is really like that's really cool and impressive for them to, and for the most part, I feel like more people, I would say our age, maybe a little bit older, maybe definitely people around our age, more than likely remember playing like Putt Putt or Pajama Sam, more than they would playing Rita Rabbit.
Yeah.
So credits to them. And I mean, when you look at the people that made the game, it definitely makes a lot of sense. You have LucasArts people making a game that's for kids that's essentially the same kind of game. You'll get that kind of quality.
Sorry, I'm looking at pictures of Rita Rabbit, and I thought I would remember something about it, but I don't.
Yeah, I don't remember or really
Also,
know.
Wow, I'm looking at the first Rita Rabbit from like 1989.
89, wow.
But I guess it's not even the first one. It's version 4.1, and I just want you to see it because I thought it was like a bad Microsoft Paint version of it.
Oh yeah,
it's pretty freaky.
That's some MS DOS looking shit.
Yeah.
Well, do you have any final thoughts, Paul, on Humongous Entertainment?
I feel like I don't think I'll ever play one again unless... No, I don't think I ever will play one again. It was kind of like one of those things where I thought it would be fun to kind of like play because it might be like fun to make fun of, or it might be like genuinely kind of engaging. And it kind of was, but it was mostly just kind of like clicking around, which I know I was the one who wanted to play the game. I told Josh that we should play
which I do think that was a good idea.
Yeah. But yeah, it wasn't not my game. And I probably would have enjoyed it as a kid though.
Yeah.
I'm sure. And I think I did, like the time I did play it briefly with a friend of mine. I think I had fun, but we didn't play it for very long because I had to go home. I think.
Wasn't that always the worst?
Yeah. You have to go home at like 5 or something. It's like,
you just have to go home. It's like, there's so much other stuff we got to do.
Yeah.
Well, mainly just there's more video games to play.
Yeah.
I don't want to go home.
I want to go home where I don't have these video games.
Always the worst part about going to a friend's house.
Leaving.
Now it's like, I can't wait to get home.
I know. You're like, well, I've been out for 2-3 hours.
I can't wait to go home and look at my phone. Not do anything.
Yeah.
Ah, boy, we're getting old, huh?
Sure are. We're both 27.
Wow. Just a couple of old farts.
Couple of
at
old
27.
man.
Well, I suppose.
What are your final thoughts?
What are my
Josh?
final thoughts?
Yeah, what are your final thoughts?
On Humongous Entertainment?
Oh yeah, I'm not saying you're about to die. You're not that. What are your final thoughts on Humongous Entertainment?
I think they're a great company. I mean, lawsuit aside from one of the founders,
because she wanted to build her dream.
She wanted to build a dream home. Oh, that we're bringing this back full circle. I remembered why I brought up the Burger Chef murders. It's because that was another thing where it's like I'm just doing some research, not expecting to really find anything out of the ordinary, and all of a sudden, like, Humongous Entertainment. Ooh, Ron Gilbert. What's he done? Shelley Day. What's she done? I click on Shelley Day. She has like her intro Wikipedia entry, and the only subset and like the only subsection is fraud conviction. I was like, what the fuck is this? A fraud section?
So I looked at that when you were describing it, and I really liked how it's the specific mention of why she did it was because she wanted her dream home. Just a really weird justification to put into the Wikipedia.
Yeah.
And a weird justification to do it at all. Like, I could see if you're genuinely just like, I wanted more money or I needed this money because of like bills or something, or but just like specifying you wanted it for a dream home.
But not even a dream. It was a dream home on an island.
Yeah.
So yeah, anyway, that was why I brought up Burger Chef. Was just because that was another moment of like searching something pretty innocuous. Oh, criminal activity.
We should strive to find the criminal activity in every episode.
I wonder if that'll happen.
I bet we're
2 for 2.
Yeah.
So far we are 2 for 2. All in all, I like Humongous Entertainment. I liked their games growing up. I even had a good time when we were replaying it. I mean, like, a little bit of frustration aside, I don't know. It was fun to see, fun to relive, and really fun to learn that Pajama Sam is Bobby Hill.
Oh, yeah. I can't believe we hadn't brought that up yet.
Pajama Sam is Bobby Hill and Spinelli from Recess.
I would have much preferred a point and click game where you are Bobby Hill in a King of the Hill style situation. That would be fun.
I bet someone somewhere out there realized that connection and has made a point and click like King of the Hill game with Bobby as the main character.
That would be really fun, where you just like your goal is to like get Hank to like give you a hug or something, and
yeah,
like you're just Bobby like going through all the various props in your prop comedy closet. And
a true adventure game would be Bobby has to go get his Game Boy out from Hank's desk at Strickland Propane.
That would be great.
That's a free idea for anyone that has modding capabilities or whatever and is able to make a game. We would love to see a point and click adventure game in which you play as Bobby Hill and you need to get your Game Boy back from Hank's desk at Strickland Propane. That's all I got on Humongous Entertainment.
Wow.
Well, I guess that's the end of the show. If you like this show and you want to help us out, please leave us a review wherever you listen to your podcast, and also tell your friends and share it. Let them know that we're around and that you enjoy this.
Yeah.
If you want to share your own memories of playing any Humongous Entertainment games or any other old PC games in general, feel free to tweet at us at Nostalgia System or send us an email, nostalgiasystempodcast@gmail.com. Finally, if you want to support this show even further, you can find us on Patreon, patreon.com/Nostalgia Entertainment System. Finally, we'd like to thank MoonRayker Music for composing our theme song Scanlines. You can find them over on Twitter at MoonRayker Music and now SoundCloud. That is MoonRayker, RAYKER. Paul, you got anything to plug?
Nope. If you want to, you can follow me on Twitter, which I do not post on and do not check, at Krang's Dumb Body.
He's got some really good jokes on there.
Yeah, you could go find some from like 2017 or something like that.
I think there's some gold in that Twitter.
Thanks, Josh.
You should go read Paul's archive of one-liners.
Yep. And if there's anything bad there, don't bring it up because I don't want to get canceled.
You can find me on Instagram, Twitch, and Patreon under the handle Daruma Party. That's DARUMA Party.
Why? Because I gotta. Oh, you didn't spell out party though. Dang it.
No, I didn't. Well, that's it for us this week. Paul, what are we talking about next week?
We're talking about PBS Kids, Josh. Should I have been more subtle with that?
No, you can be as direct as that.
Whoa.
All right, that's our episode. Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye.